Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. My name is Courtney and I make videos about my printmaking practice. Today I'll be chatting about life and printmaking during this video. I really want to get caught up on where I'm at now. This block is really special to me because it's a design I did 10 years ago when I first started printmaking. It's actually based on my very first print I ever made, and I did a redo of it 5 years ago, but this one I think has changed a lot. It's definitely changed a lot from the very first one I did. And I want to talk more about this block and this design in a little bit, but first I feel like I have to address two elephants in the room. And the first one is, this is my first video that I recorded after having my baby. So this is a little bit of an older footage. It's from November 2024, which is crazy because that's kind of almost a year ago now. It's a really important print to me and I thought the video was really pretty, so I wanted to make sure I didn't toss it, but I actually scrapped a bunch of footage from the last couple years because it didn't feel relevant anymore, and I just want to work on making videos about more current content and things I'm doing. My last video I posted where I was 8 months pregnant and I did a big mega print marathon per se. I really enjoyed that video footage too, and I was like, oh, I would feel so sad if I didn't edit it together and post it as well, because these YouTube videos are meant to hopefully help people who are also trying to learn printmaking and work on their printmaking skills. Like, I'd like to share what I've learned and connect with other people who are printmakers, but also they're studio vlogs, so they're little snapshots of my art practice as it has developed and a bit of like my life as that has developed too. So looking back at some of my older videos, I'm really glad I have them just to see like how far I've come with art and with my life. Like, you know, I think it's almost 5 years ago, so roughly 5 years ago when I started my YouTube channel, and it's crazy to see everything that's happened in the last 5 years. I haven't shared 100% of my life online, but what I do share is a cool little, I don't know, history, biography that I like to look back on. Anyways, enough about that. I feel like I have addressed that elephant. The other elephant in the room that I need to address is new name, Rambling Toad Press, or the way I like to say it is Ramblin, Ramblin Toad Press. So I decided to change my business name a couple years ago. I just hadn't picked out a name yet. I needed to switch my business name because Smish Studio, I didn't really feel connected to it. When I came up with that name, I thought it was a like playful, kind of clever way of combining my last name, which is Smith, with kind of an element of printmaking because you press things or you mash things. So I was thinking smish, like Smith, and mash is smish. But also, I didn't know that smishing is a form of text message spam. I knew about phishing as email spam, but I didn't know about smishing. I'm sure you can guess that having smish in your website name makes your website be flagged as spam. So I had a few people reaching out to me saying they were having issues with my website being flagged as spam, and a couple of my friends as well, and I was so sad. It seemed like a huge undertaking to change my business name, and it wasn't a fun experience. It wasn't that bad, but did not enjoy it. It did cause some problems. But now we're here at Ramblin Toad Press, if you're wondering where that name came from. I wanted a name that I felt more connected with, and it felt like my art was more connected with that name. For me, Ramblin with the accent is a nod to my rural southern roots. I grew up in the Appalachian foothills of Georgia, and I don't have a huge accent because I intentionally try not to have an accent. It does come out sometimes, particularly after I talk to my dad on the phone. Ramblin' also has another meaning. Well, ramblin' itself has two meanings, which is kind of like wandering or meandering, like kind of makes me think of, a journey, an adventure, where you're just going with the flow. But also it can mean to talk on and on, which sometimes I think I ramble. But it makes me think of the sounds of frogs and toads croaking and chirping and basically singing in the evenings, because I wanted to incorporate either frogs or toads, something like that, in my name. I settled on Toad because I think it just sounded better, Ramblin' Toad Press. Frogs and toads feel really special to me because they remind me a lot of my mom. It was her favorite animal. She passed away when I was a kid, and she was also an artist. So I wanted to honor her memory, honor my roots of growing up in Appalachia, and then the last part of the name is press. I think that was an easy pick. It's something a lot of printmakers use for their art print studio name. I feel like it's very specific to what I do. That's where that came from. But Ramblin' Toad Press, it feels much more me. When I see all of my prints next to each other, it's so cool to see how I've changed as a printmaker. One of the number one things is how much more patient I am. In the beginning, for the first one, I didn't really plan out my design. I was just told to make an 8x10 relief print. I remember just kind of making a really quick sketch. I don't feel like I was that good at drawing back then. I based the print off of someone I had met while I was on the West Coast for a short period of time. During college, I did an internship in Oregon, and I met a lot of people that were characters. I made a whole series based off of, I guess, what I imagined as like hippie people I had met on the West Coast. It was a big culture shock from growing up in Georgia. It was a good experience, and I loved it, and it made me want to move out to the West Coast eventually. which I am living here now. The series itself was kind of whimsical and funny. I had a lot of animals representing people I had met, maybe not even people I knew super well, but just like characters that stood out. And this first one was someone I had become friends with that was like really naturey. I can see the changes in my print design over time, and inevitably, of course, I would get better at designing block prints. My first print, I remember it being so confusing on like how to plan out what was going to be light and dark, and I think even when I carved the block, I messed up so many times. I carved the wrong areas, I stabbed myself a bunch. It felt so hard. I was using one of those like speedball lino cut tools that I had not even sharpened, and honestly I kind of hated it. I didn't have the patience for like design, good transfer, slow down and carve carefully so you don't, one, hurt yourself or mess up. My second design, I think I was really excited because I could change it and keep it similar but improve my design and carving. Like, I had been printing for about 5 years at that point, and I felt like I had gotten better at it. I felt like some things had kind of clicked, and I actually like did my 5-year one only recently after deciding to focus on relief printmaking. Like, while I was in school, I mainly did intaglio and screen printing because I did not like relief printmaking at all. I did a few more block prints through school, and then I like stopped. When I didn't have to do a block print, I didn't do a block print. So I did a few more blocks, and it finally felt like the design and the carving planning had clicked right before I made my second block. I can still see some mistakes I had made by accident. I was still figuring out how to sketch and draw how I would be printmaking. That still felt like a struggle at that point of like, how do I draw this in this final iteration or this most recent iteration of this block? I have dialed in my design process pretty good. Like, I still make mistakes while I'm carving, and that's more of like maybe a slip of the carving tool. And I don't even have to draw exactly how I carve. I've kind of developed in my mind while I'm designing something, I know what carving techniques and what carving tools I'm gonna use where, so certain things I draw aren't like drawn really well, but I know how relief printmaking process and carving will take those elements and make them look how I'm imagining them. And I think the core of each of these things I've touched on for my blocks is rooted in patience. I used to rush through a lot of my projects. Maybe that's because I was in school and I had multiple deadlines for multiple projects for different like studio classes I was in, and I was kind of just I had a heavy workload because I was kind of just trying to get through all of my classes and finish school. I am faster at the design process, not because I'm rushing, but because I know it better. I'm just more patient with the process because I've learned to embrace each phase of it, and I've learned to enjoy each phase. I feel like I'm slightly better at drawing than I used to be. Like, I've developed that skill a lot more, and I think it's helped improve my prints. Really cool to see them all lined up together. This is the first one I did, the first print I ever made. Initially, I hated relief print. I made this and I was like, I never want to do that again. The main thing that stands out is that I'm much better at planning my blocks. I'm much more patient with each step of the process. I did too much. I was trying to figure it out. This is a very problem-solving phase. This is a very problem-discovering phase. I didn't even know what I was getting into. And then this, I was like, okay, let me try to have more intention with my carving and my planning. And it was a learning experience. And now I feel like I have my planning process. I'm better at sketching and drawing how I end up carving. Like, I can plan my carving. Contrast, like this doesn't have a lot of contrast in the grass between lights and darks, so a lot of it I feel like blends together, versus here a lot of the mushrooms pop and even the grass pops off of the ground. And then with the dark sky, I wanted to try and get a little more creative. This is something I'm doing in more of my prints now, where I'm trying to give more texture to the sky. I feel like even my design ideas and stuff like that has matured over time. And at this point, I feel like I'm rambling. If you haven't already, please like the video. That helps my channel grow a lot, and I'd love to hear from you. If there's anything that stands out about each of these prints, let me know in the comments. Have you ever gone back and remade some of your old prints? How did that go for you? If you'd like to support my channel, support my art, then please visit my shop. It'll be linked in the description. I have this print and others for sale. I also would love if you'd jump over to Instagram or Blue Sky and give me a follow. I really appreciate any support. Thanks for being here, and thanks for spending this time with me.